Mrs. Lynch, I'm so glad to have you here. I thank you so much for coming out. But I want you to get up and just tell your story, because I think it's important. You know, we deal with so many people that finally seek us out or finally start to believe once they've been told that there's nothing the medical profession can do. It's too bad we don't get more people listening on the front end. But, you know, just in your own words, tell us what you went through, what you're going through now, because you see the whole system for what it is. And, you know, I think it's important to share that with other people.
I made a little note for myself just to keep me on track. Well, no, it's just bits and pieces.
Good. So this is Claudia Lynch, and she was referred to me by
Yes, by
there's the guy.
James.
By James, okay.
Yes.
And they showed up at my door one day, and we sat down at the kitchen table, and we took action. And
yeah, I think what, about 3 hours later, we just
it
was just so interesting what you were saying at the time. Just flew by.
I'll just leave it there. We're at the kitchen table, and from that point forward, Claudia took charge of her own health. Deserves all the credit in the world.
Actually, it was Juliana that took charge of my health. She says, I'm not going to lose you, so get it straight.
Well, not that I've ever heard this, but can Italians be pushy?
Oh no.
No,
not me, Paul.
They can speak very pushy.
Oh, just come on over here and stand in the middle of it, okay?
Okay.
Because they're probably going to take a picture of you here, okay?
Oh, just a picture, right? Not this whole spiel.
I'm going to take a video.
Well, yeah, but then you can edit it, and then we put it on the website so that other people can. You'll save a life.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Okay. If it's that, then fine.
Is it okay to save a life?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, mine was saved, so
thanks,
why
Claudia.
not, right?
Okay. Tell us your story.
Okay. Well, last year I was diagnosed with cancer. And of course it was very devastating at the time. They said I had kidney cancer, which had already metastasized to my pancreas and possibly even my liver. I kind of couldn't believe it. I was in shock for a very long time, because that's the best I felt in a long time. I was doing a lot of gym and walking my head off, and I just felt great, and I thought, what the heck's going on? So they said it was about 5 years in the making. Who knows what's going on inside, right? Doesn't matter what you look like outside.
That's right.
And I was told that I had 2 years to live, possibly 3 with chemo. I thought, okay, do I want to live 2 years without chemo and have a bit of a life, or do I want to take chemo, live 3 years, and be sick the whole time? I don't think so. So I chose not to take chemo. Then, luckily, Juliana spoke to James. She through her husband, Mario, and through James, we met Paul Beatty. And Paul set me on a course that has saved my life. I'm not out of the woods yet. However, the last CAT scan I had, the specialist, the kidney specialist, was scratching his head saying, well, I don't know what's happened here, but whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Because it had not spread into my liver. It had, what did it do?
Pancreas shrunk.
Yeah, it had shrunk. Yeah, it had shrunk a bit in the pancreas, and hopefully it was on the way to the kidney. So the specialist said, well, it looks like you've been given your life back, but he said, I do want to operate and take your kidney out, and we only have a small window of opportunity, so I'd like to do it as quickly as possible. Well, I thought, well, okay, that's a good idea. But then I spoke to Paul, and I'm not so sure I'm going to go that route. So he said, ask for another CAT scan and see what's happening. And I did that, and they didn't want to do it because they said, well, it might not be good for your kidney. Only we suspect it might be maybe the cost of another CAT scan or something. But anyway, so what Paul suggested I do is I haven't done it as yet, but down the road, shortly down the road, I'm going to call and say I'd like to postpone the operation until it's safe to get another CAT scan to see what's going on. Because I sure don't want them to be taking my kidney out if they don't have to. I mean, I know it's a spare. That's what the specialist said. He said, you have 2 kidneys and one's a spare. Well, I would like to keep
Take
my
a live while
spare
you're at
for
Just
now.
give me 2 legs again.
Just in case, yeah. I said, well, what's this going to mean? Like, am I going to, like, what does not just having 1 kidney mean to me? Am I going to be sick? Am I going to be in bed? What's going to happen? He said, no. He said, the only thing you can't do is contact sports, like hockey or football. So my husband promptly said, well, she quit those sports 3 years ago. So I think I'm okay. But if I don't have to, then why do it, right? And again, it's under the knife. And while I was in his office talking about it, he made me sign some forms saying, well, if I have a heart attack, it's not their fault. So there you go. Yeah. So that's me, and I'm still trucking.
And I like the word you use. You might want to bring this up, but when they saw the scans and the shrinkage of the cancer and all of that going on, I mean, you had called me and said, their answer was, this is a miracle. You have a window of opportunity here, and they were very vehement about, we've got to get you in a hurry to get the other kidney out. Is that not correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they want to get it's my left kidney.
Yes.
And that was
but isn't it interesting that, because whenever someone has kidney cancer, I mean, they want you in 24 hours to prevent it from spreading to the other
Organs.
yes,
kidney.
Yes.
No, the other kidney.
The other
Yeah.
kidney.
goes
Oh.
through.
Now, isn't it interesting when they check their opening? It's okay though, because we can't do it for 3 months.
Yeah.
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 By then it could have
I
jumped.
was kind of glad it was 3 months though, because it gave me some
No.
time to think
Yeah.
But I
about
see
it.
what Paul is saying.
Yeah, exactly. We
It's
have
not
to do
urgent.
it. Well,
It's not urgent
yeah,
because they
yeah,
don't have an
not
opening.
urgent.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I say, you know, if it's not that urgent, that they're putting it off for that long, and this is what's happening, what we're seeing right now, then why would anyone want that kidney out if you're not going to take another scan?
Exactly.
That people, because, you know, other people, whether it's breast cancer or whatever, and Bridget's going to share her story where she's at, I mean, they're scanning these people every 3 months, 6 months, whatever.
Yeah, I couldn't understand. He said, well, it's bad for your kidneys.
Yeah, it's okay for the rest of you, but it's bad for your kidney.
Yeah.
Well, you have cancer in your kidney. What could be worse?
Yeah, exactly.
Scan?
Yeah.
Well, thanks, but
It's already dead
Yeah.
as a dodo bird.
Yeah. So good for you. You stand up for your rights, because what's
I
interesting
will,
is,
thanks to you and my friend Juliana.
yeah, just bring Julianne everywhere.
She goes to all the visits with you.
Oh my goodness, no,
No,
she
I
doesn't. She's
don't.
on the
Her hubby goes with her.
she's on the phone with me.
But
You gotta do this and you gotta do
sometimes-
that. Don't forget this and don't forget that. And do
Yeah,
this.
but
and
you
do
don't know
that.
how many times after I speak to you, I say, did I say the same, the right thing, Lord? Just guide me through this.
Yeah, you
because
did. You did.
Sometimes
Because
I
I'm
do
listening.
feel like I'm no expert, you know, but I'm saying what I feel. Not like James at all.
but I think the important lesson is that you have to analyze the whole situation and realize that, yes, okay, they want to take the kidney out, but you have to empower yourself to say, okay, what makes logical sense? I want another look, because it's 2-3 months down the road, at what's happening to this cancer if it continues to shrink. Because there's, even if it wasn't cancer, it's a 4-hour operation to take
Yes.
a kidney out with
Yes.
potential risk of infection, of pneumonia, of C. difficile, of we left an instrument in you. Geez, I had a bad day with
Well,
my wife.
I already
whatever.
signed away for all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And,
So it's not their fault.
no, oh, yeah.
Everything's their fault.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, you just stick to your guns and you say, I will have the operation after I see another CAT scan. But not till I have another CAT scan and see what's going on with the cancer. will I make a decision? So, because they cannot force you.
Yeah.
They can try. They believe me.
They
They're
can try.
trained real
Yeah,
well
that's
how
right.
to.
They
That's
can
right.
actually-
They scare. They
I'm
try to
always
scare
afraid
you.
he'll get mad and say, well, I'm not going to do it then, so there.
Well, there's
No,
lots
they
of
can't do that.
doctors.
They
Well,
can't-
no, there's just a couple.
Oh,
Just
really?
a couple of, yeah.
They can't do that. By the way,
Can't force you anyway.
people need to start to understand, because I've run into this many times over the years. This talk about I'm going to fire you as a patient.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to take this conversation with a doctor, take it to a lawyer, and somebody needs to stand up on the front page of the newspaper and say, this whole system is paid by the taxpayer. If anybody's going to get fired, it's going to be the doctor.
Yeah.
Because it's absolute
I
insanity.
just don't
to
want
think.
to mess around. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to cause any
No.
waves, you know.
Can I say something?
Sure, sure.
There's only one thing that's important here. That's the results.
Yeah.
That's called coming out of this alive and living.
Yes, true.
Don't give a damn how rocky the seas get. It's about landing on the other shore.
Does he know you're taking the fats?
Well, he asked me what the heck I was doing, and I told him what, like I had my sheet of every time you go, you have to bring your sheet of what you're taking. So I showed it to him. Of course, he didn't have a
What?
clue. I said they're vitamins and minerals, and he didn't.
He wouldn't know what
He
the...
wouldn't know.
He must know what primrose is.
Oh, I doubt it.
Well, I'm sure he
Absolutely
knows
doubt
it, but it's just the
He's heard of it.
Yeah,
He think-
he probably doesn't.
He probably
it's not-
thinks she
it's a
probably
medical-
thinks
Yeah.
probably thinks she's taking it for PMS,
Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has that name to it.
even though she's menopausal.
Yeah.
You know, no, they have no idea.
Well, my husband and I kind of, when we went in there for the consultation after the CAT scan, my husband and I were kind of sitting there waiting for really bad news. Because I had talked to my own doctor just before then. And I said, have you seen the results of the CAT scan? She says, she looked on her computer, she says, yes, here they are right here. So she's telling me that, it doesn't look good. I see something else coming from somewhere else, and oh my god.
Normally they don't say a word.
That's because they're not
I think
even
she was
trained in how to
trying
read them.
Yeah, I think that's what the problem was. She didn't know how to read it, but she was trying, right? To make me, she was trying to make me
It's great
feel.
to be the guinea pig on the other
Well,
end.
she was
Yeah.
trying to make me feel good.
Trying to make her
And
feel good by
she-
giving her a heart attack.
She just about did. So
Yeah.
anyway, we went to the office, to the specialist office, waiting for the whole thing to come down on top of our heads. And then he tells us this, oh, by the way, it's looking really, really good. What have you been doing? And my husband and I are sitting there
Yeah.
for half an hour. The doctor finally left. He said, well, I have other patients. I'll see you in half an hour. So for the half hour that
So he's
we were
really
there,
curious. He was probably
it
curious
was like
too.
that. Yeah, he was.
He was curious
Absolutely.
as heck.
Yeah. So he came back finally. He gave
Yeah.
us about 45 minutes. I guess we looked pretty desperate.
Well, you got to understand, their training is all rote memory behavior.
Yeah.
And when all of a sudden, it doesn't fit the squares, there's a whole bunch of jockeying and this and fear and what and oh my
Yeah,
God and
yeah.
everything else that goes on.
They get
And they,
suspicious.
and then they transfer that fear to the patient.
Yeah. Well, I know 3 of them took different times of trying to get me to go to chemo.
Yeah.
And my own doctor said, well, she said, you know, if it were my mother, I'd tell her to get the chemo. And then she said, and
You
if
should
it was
have. You should have
me-
said. Pardon me for interrupting, but you should have said right then. What? Don't you like your mother?
Well, I didn't know enough about anything at that time, or I would have. But then she said, if it were me, I would take the chemo.
Yeah.
But obviously, she's brainwashed. You know, I mean, to her, that was
But
a good thing.
Now, you have to say, the last time you did see her, though, she changed her tune a little bit.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. She said, "Oh my gosh, what happened to you?" She says, "Like I can't believe it."
Well,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
divine intervention, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
But my wife doesn't think I'm divine.
I go to church every Sunday, that's why.
Not. Thank you so much.
That's great.
And I don't ask anything but you reach out to others who will listen.
Absolutely.
You bet.
And tell them
Anybody-
they have choices.
Yeah, anybody that will listen, absolutely.
That's the point, will they listen?